Shinobi podcast.
Welcome, everybody. Special episode of the Shinobi podcast. As you can see, we got a full house today. My man over here, you see, we're side by side. We're usually looking at one another through a screen, you know. But now we're here in the flesh, side by side, and we've brought some people along with us. All right. Also, remember, guys, the camera's right there. I just had to remind myself. But yeah, man, I got a group here, a very special group, a group that's very close to mi corazón. And I really appreciate everybody for being here, being part of this. I'm calling it the Shinobi Podcast Family Reunion Special. We haven't seen each other in a while. We've been out living our lives. We kind of had to scatter off and do our own things and, you know, go our own way. But we always got to come back together, check in, make sure everybody's good, man, and see how we can uplift each other, you know? So that's what we're here for. But without further ado, I'm going to start to my right. Very good friend. You saw him, but you ain't seen him yet. But you're going to see him on season 2 with his own individual episode. Damn, you were. Damn, I'm tripping, y'all. My man was on episode 1. Episode 1, Tsunami was as well. But yep. So that was a big thing for me to do this, was to really get the people together that have been here from the start. Of course, my mom's been here from the start. She pushed my ass out of there. But you know, people that have shown great merit, I guess I should say. People that have shown great merit, shown commitment, you know, and shown that they just down, you know. That's what I like around me. That's what I like to attract. And I feel like these people embody that. So that's why they're here. That's why we're doing this. And we're going to keep doing this thing together. But I'm going to let my man to the right introduce himself, express yourself. If you want to plug anything, just holler at the people.
What's up, guys? George Galvin here from Point of Year Training. You've seen me before. Pleasure being back. Mr. Tsunami.
Peace, everybody. Tsunami on the mic. You know, fresh out of. Let's see. Well, I'm fresh. I just got a brain fart. Nah, man. Coming straight to you from Thorough Law. You know, anybody need any help with some real estate closings or real estate advice, business law advice, or estate planning advice, I'll let you boy, man.
Oh, you want me to take? Oh, we're just gonna move it around like that. Y'all already know me. It's gonna be kind of awkward. My head is a little bit, but yeah, but it's all good. So, y'all know me. I finally got down here. We side by side. So, I'm excited for y'all gonna get to see an exciting season coming to you. So, just be prepared, man. I'm excited about this. This has been a big process, a big work in the making. So. We still got more to do, though. We still got a lot more to do. So we working on it. So that's me. Y'all know. So, yeah.
I'm KJ Caliente. I make music. I'm a salesman, YouTube, entrepreneur. I just do it all.
I'm Robbie. I'm Shabri's mom. I'm delighted to be here amongst everyone today. Originally, I live in North Carolina. I have, I guess you would call it investment/retirement home here in Fort Myers as well. And like I said, I'm just delighted to be here today.
Deontay just moved out here to Fort Myers, starting a t-shirt business, Design Custom, coming soon.
All right, there you have it, everybody. That is our panel. KJ and D. These are my nephews. My mother, of course. My cousin. All family. Even if it ain't blood, it's still family, baby. But I wanted to start the show off highlighting this guy to my left, right over here. I want to get inside your brain a little bit. You just made a huge transition in life, huge change, huge move. I would like to know, how has this transition been for you so far? Like, has it been a big adjustment? Like, I know it's still very new, but how do you find yourself adjusting, with it being so fresh with you leaving home?
Well, I really have to change my schedule. That's the main thing that I'm having. The biggest part I have trouble with, I'll say, like changing my schedule, getting used to like have to get up early in the morning. 'Cause I was working second shift, so I was working 2 to 10 or 2 to 12. So it's like changing my schedule, getting up earlier, start my day sooner.
Mhm.
The biggest difference.
So what made you, I would like to know, what was like the deciding factor? Where was your mind at as far as like when you were deciding to move or not to move? Like, what made you choose to actually take that step to actually move and really just embrace change in general? Is there something specific, or is there like an accumulation of things that happen?
That's probably like an accumulation of things that happen. I would say it's more so like I guess from working my job, not having much time to really do anything, and then like getting to have like more experience to do whatever I wanted to do, and probably like when I wanted to like start actually making my t-shirt,
Mhm.
I found I had more time to do that. So that's probably what it was, making t-shirt.
Okay. And how did your brother influence you to come here?
Well, it was probably like a few months ago. It was like, 'cause I was planning on moving like around December,
Okay.
so like towards the end of the year. Like we started talking about this like last year.
Okay.
So I was thinking about like I'll move in December, have like save up enough money, and then he was basically saying like his t-shirt, his shirts that he's trying to make needs to be made now. And I was like, okay, so now it's like I have to have more time to actually make everything, actually start the process of making t-shirts. So I guess like that and his music was taking off. So it's like now is the time you got to get out there. And if I wait, I might miss it or something.
Mm-hmm. That's good. It sounds like you jumped on the opportunity and saw the opportunity and jumped on it.
Right.
And that's very important, man, especially as a young man, to just kind of go out and see how things pan out. But, have the confidence and the trust in yourself to know that you can make something happen. And, with you specifically, I know it was nicer being able to kind of come down to something more settled.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because, I got here, I kind of been making my roots here. Khalil's here making his roots. My mom's here, she's making her roots, So it was nice to be a part of your easy transition. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Like that really made it easy, knowing like I had people that was already down here to like help me and guide me on the way. So like I knew Khalil was down here, I knew you was down here, Nana was helping us move into the house. So like I had a bunch of pieces that I seen that connected to my puzzle that helped me get to where I needed to go. So it's like all the family is around. So now I'm not like I'm moving from family, but I still have family that's close to me.
Yeah. And that's nice, man. And you'll find over the years, once you're separate from family, it can be very difficult because you want your family close. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm happy to have you guys close, because all this time I've been on my own. Well, I can't say on my own, but I've been here really trying to set this foundation, and I'm happy to see that, like, my efforts, something's actually coming from my efforts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it just makes me want to go harder and harder and do more and inspire more and help you guys more. And I just gotta say I'm appreciative of that, because you guys give me like a great purpose to like excel in life. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to express that to you guys. All right. So I want to kind of get into taking risks, because when you're moving, you are taking a risk. You're going into the unknown. You don't really know what's ahead.
Right.
You know, you have a few pieces in place, but there's many more pieces that you're gonna have to fit together in that puzzle. You know, what do you feel? Well, how do you feel about risk taking? Do you feel that it's a necessity to get ahead?
if you don't take a risk, you're gonna be staying in the same place you've been forever, really.
Absolutely.
So like me, I was thinking like if I do stay here, I already know what I have planned ahead. But it's like when I started making t-shirts, it was like I have an idea of what's gonna happen, but I never know what could happen on the way. So like even if it does happen, I have the best idea for myself. So I just went with that. The best plan I have for myself.
Mom, I'm gonna ask you the same question. What do you think about risk taking? You have more life experience than all of us.
Yeah, I feel that it's absolutely necessary to take risks because just as Khalil, as Dee was saying, you'll be in the same place all your life. You know, there's some people that grow up in a neighborhood and they never leave there. And so I know just, for example, when I went into the Army, so my first duty station was in Germany. And before that, I had only been to North Carolina and South Carolina. Hadn't been anywhere else, you know, so it was like very eye-opening to me. If I had never taken the risk to actually, join the Army, um, I may have been in a small place, in a small town for the rest of my life. So I feel that it's absolutely necessary. It does broaden your horizons once you get there because, you know, I didn't speak German when I went over there. And we took like a little crash course, like six weeks, you know, learning German, you know, how to go shopping, how to go to a restaurant, order food and stuff like that, you know. But then you get out and, you know, you'll mingle with the people. You can do like correspondence courses to learn the language and, you know, different things like that. So it's absolutely necessary to take risks in your life.
So how did that affect, like when your eyes were open, once you moved and saw different things?
Mhm.
How did that affect how you raised us to, you know, kind of see more than what's just right there?
Right. I always, and you can attest to this, I always encourage you guys to, if you have a dream, go after it. You know, don't get to be 40 years old and say, oh, well, I wish I had done this or I wish I had done that. You know, I'm about to make a change in my life as well because like, well, you know, I say like my job, for example, I've been on the same job for like 22 years and it's getting old. And right now, one thing that I want to do is be a flight attendant. So I'm actually going to apply for, you know, who's to say that I'll get the job, but I'm going to apply for a flight attendant job. So that
Good.
way I won't be laying on my deathbed saying, oh, I wish I had applied for that flight attendant's job. You know, just step out of the box and do things. You
Yeah.
have to.
No doubt.
Part of life.
Sue, what you feel about that?
Let 'em know.
Definitely gotta take risk. I'm actually in a position right now myself, you know, with my job. Is I was telling Smooth earlier that you know, I'm very grateful for the opportunity I have with my job because I learned an abundance of new information that I probably wouldn't have had access to or even thought about getting access to. Um but you know, I'm not super in a rush to get up out of there, but like I do see a ceiling eventually for myself in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay, you know, because certain things comes in seasons, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to take as much as I can with it, as well
Mhm.
as, you know, the connections and the networks that I have made through there and try to find my next stepping stone, I guess you would say. I'm a little nervous, you know, just because more so because of you know, my mentor who got me the gig. I don't want to really like have any issue, like disappoint, but more so like, you know, yeah, disappoint him or like fall out with him over that, you know. But I don't think it'll be that deep, you know what I mean? I think he'll respect the fact, he'll respect what's going on.
Mhm.
But honestly, you know, I was just, you know, I was also telling Smooth, I'm trying to look for like a remote like gig or something. I don't know doing what just yet, but I want to find something that I enjoy doing, so I'm not just wasting time, you know, doing something again that like is not really adding any purpose, I guess you would say, to my life. But also just so I can get a little time back, so that way I can take more risk and, you know, apply more of my time to doing things that I actually really want to do. You know what I mean? And
No doubt.
whether that be traveling, whether that be pursuing music at some point again, you know, on the not the, you know, artist side, but A&R
Yeah.
business side of things. But yeah, because I love music to death, man. That's my, you know, that's my biggest love, as well as movies, man. I always wanted to do like some form of movie production. Maybe write a couple movies too, but definitely movie production and directing. I've always
Speaking
wanted
my
to get into.
language now.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. You know, life is short. You know, a couple situations that have just, you know, that went down recently, like, have shown me, like, yo, you can't take nothing for granted. You know what I mean? You
Oh,
just
for
gotta
sure.
like, you gotta really, really, really live life to the fullest, man. You know, like you said, Mom Dukes, you know, don't wait until you're 40 until you know you want to start doing things, because things come quick. You never know. Nothing's ever promised, you know. So you gotta keep pushing. You know, just live life, man. Honestly, have fun every step of the day. You know, try to be as present as possible. You know, where you are right now, and appreciate where you're at. And that doesn't mean get complacent, but you know, appreciate where you're at. Smell the flowers. You know, give yourself flowers for where you're at, especially if you leveled up in some sort of way. You know, small wins are always is a win. You know, so
I always say celebrate the small wins, no matter what size your wins are. Celebrate them, man, because they add up.
definitely, you know, and it also builds confidence more and more. You know,
Mhm.
if you credit yourself for doing it, you're gonna get used to hearing that. You know, and eventually you just push yourself more and more to achieve either more goals or bigger goals. You know, and you just keep going. But definitely, I'm learning to take more risks. You know, like I'm not gonna say like I've done a bunch of that, but like I'm working towards doing more of that and just living and just you know not really worrying about. I guess you could say what other people think in general, but you know, just doing what I like to do and doing what's fun to me, you know, and like what I could also monetize if possible, you know what I mean, and just see what's out there. You know, I'm 25 and I haven't seen damn near anything in the world. You know, I've
Yeah.
only probably been to maybe 10 states.
Mhm.
You know, I just got my passport. I just ordered my passport like a week ago, so now I'm just once that ticket comes in, it's ready. It's go time. You know what I mean? Like trying to see the world, so I can see what risk I would want to take. You know, whether it be
Yeah.
here or somewhere else. So I don't know. I'm excited though. I'm excited for it. Also, I just want to say thank you for serving, Mom Duke. Appreciate your service. I do have a question for you though.
Okay.
What made you want to join the service, as well as did you travel with when you as being in the service? Did you get stationed in different places in like different countries outside of Germany as well?
Well, Germany was my only duty station.
Sweet.
Yeah, and when when I first went into the army, I had actually flown on a plane before. So yeah, I had took it, and it was a short flight. It was from Charlotte to Columbia, South Carolina. From Charlotte, North Carolina to Columbia, South Carolina. It was probably maybe like only a 2-hour flight or something like that. But it was my first flight, and then from there, I flew to Germany. So, and that was like an 8-hour flight. And I mean, I'm going to tell you, I was scared to death. I really was. Because like when we left, I think we left out of Charleston, South Carolina. So we fly up the East Coast. And then she said, the pilot was like, well, we're going to be flying over water for like the next 3 hours. And I'm like, oh my God, just let me go to sleep and wake me up when I get there.
Yeah, that's a
But
long time.
yeah, I had actually wanted to be in the military since I was in junior high school. But
Okay.
that's you guys call it middle school now,
Yeah.
but in my days it was junior high school since like maybe the 8th grade or something like that. And then I would watch the movie MASH, and they would come on, they'd be running doing the obstacle course and stuff like that. I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do right there. I didn't know what job I wanted to do in the army, but I just wanted to do the physical part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, feeding into that, what was some of the hardest physical things you probably had to endure while there, whether in PT or like mentally? Was there more mental toughness that you had to go through or physical? And what lessons as a whole would you say that you took with you from the military?
Okay, the toughest part probably well physically it wasn't really that tough on me physically, because I've always been like physically in shape and
Gotcha.
different things like that. So that wasn't a bad part of it. I guess the only thing that probably frightened me was when we were supposed to go into the gas chamber. Everyone that goes through basic training,
Yeah.
you have to go through the gas chamber. But sorry, Uncle Sam, but I did not go through the gas chamber. I did not, because I was like, I am not going through there. Our whole, I guess our company, you have a battalion, you have a company, a platoon, and all this good stuff. So our whole company it was our day to go through the gas chamber. And I was standing out there. I was like, I'm not going through that gas chamber. So I could see, they take like maybe 10 people at a time. You go in through the gas chamber and you have your mask on. But then once you get in there, you have to take it off and like say their social security number or something like that. And so I saw the people coming out of the back. Yeah, and then I saw after they go into that little tent or whatever, they would come out the back door. You know, they would be crying and snot running down and tears and stuff like that. So I just stood there, and when the next group came out, I ran back there with them, and I was like, I was coughing and acting like, you know, I had just come out and everything. So I was like,
Smooth.
it wasn't a reason for me to go through there, and I did not go through there.
Smooth getaway.
So, what was the other question?
Oh, just like what any lessons that you learned, just that you took with you through, you know, that you kind of carried with you throughout life, as far as in the military.
Yeah, well, in the military, you're gonna come in contact with people from everywhere. So, you know, you really learn people. You know, people talk differently, and everybody, you know, everybody can still get along, even though, you know, you come from like different backgrounds and different things like that. You learn different food, you know, different cultures, right, to different things. Yeah, I actually saw people like, you know, like during the winter, I would actually saw people. You know how you see people skating on the it's like a frozen pond, yeah, or lake, and I was like, oh, people really do that, you know, because I'd never seen anything like that before. But it's a, you know, an eye-opening experience, and it's a good way for you know, as long as there's not a war going on, it's a good way for people to actually see the world. Because when I was over in Germany, you could take like little weekend trips for like $49, like to Spain or Czechoslovakia, the Black Forest, you know, different things like that. So it's really a great opportunity, as long as you're not having to fight in a war. But the Persian Gulf War was going on actually when I was in it. Well, yeah.
All right, KJ, I wanted to ask you a little something. Let me find my footing over here. There we go. All right. I would like to know why it was important for you to get your brother by your side. Did you feel a sense of responsibility for him? Do you feel a sense of responsibility for your younger brothers as the older brother?
Of course.
That's all you got?
I mean, of course. I just say the question one more time.
Why was it important for you to influence him to come down here, be by your side, so you guys can, you know, start to do your thing together?
Are you saying like why I brought him down here like in such a hurry?
Yeah.
Just because, yeah, like you saying taking risks and stuff. I've always took risks, and I've always been trying to tell them to take risks and get out of this small town that they live in. And I'm just getting tired of seeing all my friends like dying and working all these factories, just wasting their life away. I don't want that to be for my brothers either. I'm always showing social media that like, hey, look, I'm down here. I did it by myself. I didn't have no money. Y'all don't need no money. Stop coming up with all these excuses. My fault. I feel like a lot of friends and a lot of my family, they just have excuses, and I'm just trying to show them that, like, you know what I'm saying, I could do it. Like, you know what I'm saying, I literally came down here with no money. I just been taking risks my whole life, and I'm just keep taking risks, and I keep getting like a good outcome out of it. Like, I keep falling, I'm learning every time I like mess up, or you know what I'm saying, go into credit or go into debt like that. I just learn from it, and you know what I'm saying, and I'm just straight. I don't stress. I just want them to know that, you know what I'm saying, you can do it too. And I'm just out here just trying to inspire them. I'm always inspiring them, inspiring my friends, inspiring my brothers. And I was like, hey, it's taking off. Like, can't you see it taking off? Like, come down here. If you're not going to come down here, I'm sorry. You might just miss the opportunity. And I just want to I don't want to hand nobody something for free if they didn't work for it. Mm-hmm. So I'm telling them, if you don't do it now, then I can just find somebody else to hire. I don't want to do that. I want to keep it in my family. I try to keep it with some of my friends, but still, people always making excuses. And I've been wanting somebody down here. I wanted somebody to come down here. I didn't want to come by myself. I've been trying to inspire them and tell people to come down here like for years now. I'm like, just come with me. Everybody like, no, I need this, or I need to do this, I need to go to school. And that's why I've been just trying to it's always been the plan. But now he actually seeing it, that it's taking off and that I'm serious. I feel like that's why I was like, bro, you see it, so let's do it so we can show everybody else they can do it.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of seeing it, I'm sorry to cut you off. Speaking of seeing it, what was he doing that made you see that what he was talking about was real?
Like, he was basically when he was telling me about like his social media following, like I was seeing like the numbers and like how they would go up, and how like he was getting engagement on his posts and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
I love
also
my
just
trains
with the
out.
friends and you see all these people that I, you know what I'm saying, that love me or just like to be around. You know what I'm saying? All these
Right.
opportunities and all these things I've done and places I've gone. I've done more here than most people that live here done. Like all these cities and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm showing you, like, people can be out here. They friendly. Like everybody think that just being in this state or it's like a Republican state, like, you know what I'm saying, I'm racist and this and that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people fear that or just the weather
Yeah.
or just the hurricanes. I'm like, bro, I'm out here playing in the hurricane. Like, come out here. Why are y'all still worrying about the hurricanes? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I literally was planning it, showing that y'all it's serious, but it's not that serious. Like, we can live down here. Come down here. It was. I mean, I came the wrong year. I know this one was, but still, it was serious. But still, it's like, don't make that your excuse not to come down here. You could just drive away. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just gonna happen. Every place has a tornadoes. There's earthquakes. You know what I'm saying? Every place has a natural disaster. People might die, but like, don't make that the reason you cannot come down here. A lot of people was always saying, "Oh, the hurricanes." I'm like, bro, I'm planning it. Come down here. Like, I mean, it was serious, but I'm still alive.
Where do you get your confidence from?
I just
You,
always
you,
had
you really
confidence.
sound like you really know what you want and that you'll get it, and there's really no other option but to get it. Is there any practices that you do in your life to help you increase your confidence? Because our confidence is always increasing. Ain't none of us the shit. So, what do you do in your life? Because I could say, for example, I do a lot of martial arts for that reason, because it builds up my courage. It shows me exactly what I can do. You know what I'm saying? And it gives me comfort as well to be able to do these things. You know. So, what is that for you? How do you build your confidence up? Is it fitness? Is it, doing your music?
All above. My music is one. I mean, just marketing my music, knowing people like my music, and actually, you know what I'm saying. A lot of people think when I send them my music link, it's gonna be like some SoundCloud rapper that's awful sound, or you know what I'm saying. They're like, oh, but they're always surprised and just saying that they love my music. So yeah, so my music is confident because everyone loves it. I work out. Making money is a real part of it. Every time I make a lot of money, or make a bigger check, I just make a bigger check. It just gives me more confidence because I can get a haircut. I can buy the stuff I want. Like, it just take the trips I want to take. You know what I'm saying? Just working and just making money. It just builds my confidence too because I don't know. I just always been confident. I can't really explain it. It's just things I do. I just keep doing. It just makes me more confident because I keep winning. Even though I lose, I take more W's and I take more L's. So yeah.
Now, Jorge, I want to ask you the same thing because I know you start. Jorge, I'm sorry. We know each other, so how can I say this? Because it's within the same realm of that question, but I want to just throw in, like, you starting your business and the confidence it took and the confidence it's still taking in order to build it further. What are some things that you implement in your life to build that confidence, not only to just run a business, but to thrive in life? Your dogs thrive, everything around you. What do you do to help all that thrive? And what do you do to kind of test yourself in a way, so you're always gaining?
Bless you.
It's kind of like a hard question. Okay, what do I do to keep my confidence up? I feel like I was always a pretty confident kid from like stories from my grandparents and my mom. They just shared stories of like you would just, throw yourself in the pool with no floaties on and you just wanted to learn how to swim, like just crazy stuff. I did go through a period of time, I would say, in between like my older teens and younger 20s, where I was kind of, you go through this like phase where you're still trying to kind of find yourself in a way, and you're trying to find your path or your purpose, maybe even. And so I will say I was a little lost there, but then I just like one day I just realized, man, haters are gonna hate, bro, and haters are gonna hate for whatever it is, man. They can hate you for wearing a bucket hat every day. They can hate you for being a dog trainer. They can hate you for making music. They can hate you for whatever. It's whatever, bro. Like, literally, they will find anything in their head to be like, oh, that dude's too nice. Like, oh, that dude's like whatever. It could be anything to hate on. So I don't take people's like opinion or criticism into account anymore, really, where if it isn't something positive or something constructive, I try to be like, yeah, okay, you know, like I kind of like brush it off now, because I know it's like in a hateful like way, instead of more of a critical for positive feedback. You know what I mean? So it's like, because people can tell you something and it could sound harsh, but they mean well. But then other people, you could tell that they're saying it in a negative light. So in like those people are always going to be there. And I think, especially now with the internet, you see it everywhere. I mean, I see it in the dog business. I'm sure everybody sees it in whatever business they're in, but you'll see comments or reviews or whatever, people just going in on people. And half the time they don't even know what they're talking about. You know, it's people that you go creep on that person's profile real quick, and then, you know, you find out all this information, and we're like, of course they're advocating that, you know, like because of whatever their background is or whatever they're trying to portray on social media. Because people, for some strange reason, just put everything on social media now. Like everything, they just dump out their whole life on social media, and I'm not one to do that. You know, it's like really weird to me that people are just openly talking about all this stuff on social media. Granted, some people are helping other people with, I don't know, mental issues, with music, with dog training, with legal stuff, like whatever it is, right? But I think it's really weird that people are putting basically all their problems out there, just open, and it just throws me off, and it's like really, really weird. And that, I feel like, it's created a toxic environment in the viral world, where people are just like throwing out nonsense, because through conflict there's interest. Like there's always interest through rivalry. Like look at rap, look at sports teams. Like, you know, like some of the greatest stories, some of the greatest games come from rivalry. And there's something like in humans that just want to tap at other people. So the way I just go about it is, all those taps, I just throw them to the side. I'm just like, do it. Just keep doing what you're doing. And sometimes you're gonna doubt yourself. You're gonna have that imposter syndrome of you're not doing it right, you're not doing it perfect. But just like Khalil said, those are just excuses. When you start, you're gonna start to figure it out, whatever it is. You know, I went into the dog training business not really knowing what was up. I basically begged my mentor to like take me under his wing for fucking years, before one day he was like, hey man, like come to the shelter with me. And it just became a constant thing where he was just hitting me up to go to the shelter, go to the shelter, go to the shelter. And I think about it all the time of like, if I really didn't want it, I wouldn't take that leap. Like if I really didn't want to be a dog trainer, even though I had talked about it for years and I want to do something with dogs, that moment that he sent that text, that first day that he was like, hey, do you want to come meet me here? If I would have said no, my life probably wouldn't have been where it is now, because I didn't take that risk of whatever I was doing that day. You know, maybe I was grocery shopping. Maybe I was, you know, like I dropped everything and I was like, yeah, I don't, clear schedule, I'm going. Like, and I went, and then 2-3 years later, now I'm doing it by myself. And I took a risk by doing it by myself because I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I felt that I was still very young in knowledge, but my mentor was really just the one that pushed me and was like, dude, just fucking do it. Just take the leap of faith, man. Like, I know you can do it. I've seen you handle dogs. You've gone to the shelter. Half of the people that I know that are on social media haven't even handled dogs like that. They're handling pets and easy dogs that are getting them easy W's. You're getting exposed to dogs that are a little harder and a little bit more neurotic and crazy. He's like, you can train a dog. Like, you can do it. And his buildup and his support, honestly, was what mostly pushed me to just be like, dude, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, you keep doing what you're doing. And I just started listening to people like Shabri. You know, we sit down, we chop it up, and we talk about things that are going on in our lives, what we're struggling with, what we're having issues with. And it gets deep into like family, friendships, relationships with your boss, maybe, you know, and then you start talking about all these things that it starts to make you realize that the people that are there to tell you something in the positive manner are always going to be the people that you can open up the most. And the people that are going to hate to just like be in your life just to snooze around. Because I've even had friends that, you know, out of pettiness, they've been like, oh, have fun picking up dog shit the rest of your life. You know? And that's when you realize, you're like, oh, I guess you really weren't a friend. Like, thank you for showing me your true colors, bro. But that's just, and that's not something I'm not going to hold ever against them either, because it's something inside of them that they're not happy with, that they have to reflect it upon somebody else and take what they have and try to destroy it. But I'm here doing it, man. And in a couple of years, like my homie just came over and he's like seeing the growth of me working in a warehouse, like what, 4 years ago, maybe 3, working in a warehouse, just doing like dumb labor work and us chopping it up, talking about stuff at lunch, like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. And now he has his business, I have my business, and we were just chopping it up. And he was like, dude, he's like, it's crazy. In a couple of years, you're going to be a household name here. And I was like, it just like kind of hit me. And I was like, damn, like he's right. Like if I do like settle down and, you know, have my roots here, like I could be a household name that like when you say dog training, you come to me, you know? So just keep pushing, man. Just keep pushing. Take that risk. If you don't take risks, you're definitely going to be stuck in the same spot that you're at. If you don't take risks, you're never going to know where you're going to take W's or L's. Without taking L's, you're never going to know when a W is coming because you've never failed. So then you might even get stuck because of fear of failure, but you're not going to learn unless you take that leap of faith. But that's usually how I go about it.
All right, Mr. Smooth, I want to ask you the same thing because you and we have decided to jump into risk together.
Ooh. Yeah, we did. But it's all right though, because like we talked about it for years. So like we had already planned it, and already knew like where we were, what kind of direction we were already wanting to go with it. I think for a while it was us like, oh, we gotta get this, and this to start out with.
Mm-hmm.
But then we just like basically like, fuck it, let's just what we got right now, let's get to it and get it going. And we knocked out a whole season, you know. So excuse me, risk wise, like yeah, like George was saying, you're not gonna know where you're gonna go if you don't take any. And reiterating what D said, like you're just gonna be stagnant and being not taking any. You can't see what's right in front of you at all. So, and I like that's a challenge for everybody. I think really to make yourself uncomfortable, take some kind of risk, you know, because if you're not like you don't know what your body, you don't know what you're mentally capable of, you don't know what you're physically capable of if you don't take some kind of risk like that. So I commend everybody that's like doing something crazy because do like rock climbing with no harnesses.
Great.
Yeah, you ain't seen me do that. But you, buddy, like I see your adrenaline. You know, you taking that risk. I keep watching, but you're not gonna see me doing that. That's one risk I will not do at all, right there. But
I want to ask you, what made you confident to jump into risk with me?
I already knew it. I knew where your mindset was, and how we had talked. You know, us just reconnecting a long time ago, and just seeing where we were, and then where we are at that time. And you self motivated too, and you pushed me to think a whole lot clearer, a whole lot better too. And then just hearing, you know, your plans for even past just the podcast. You got your life goals. You know, you got some person that you're wanting to take care of yourself. So seeing that, seeing the drive is what was like, what told me enough of, all right, you know, if I want to go into it with anybody, why not somebody, one, that I know that's blood, two, somebody that I know that's going to get back up. You know, we're going to fail somewhere. We're going to fail somewhere, but he ain't going to lay down and just lay there and watch me, you know, keep moving. So, you know, he's going to be up there. Either we're dragging each other, try to keep moving, or he's pulling me up like, hey, let's go, you know. So that's the one. That was the thing for me that was like, all right, I'm ready to take this risk with him. So I'm honored that you chose me to go with it, because we talked, like I said, we talked about I had my individual one too at one point.
Yeah.
And now we kind of the Shinobi podcast is kind of mothership mine, so which works out perfect because we get to, you know, cross back and forth on episodes and everything, and especially with guests too. So it works out that way. But me having that, and was just like, I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere at all. And then you come along and you're like, hey, like I've got this, and this, and I'm like, okay, well, he technically got what I need too. I was like, but I see he also has his dream of doing his own style of podcasting. So I was like, you know what? I was like, let me sit mine down. I want to jump on this one with him too and see where his connect, like see how his how long his stretch is. And then just different people that we've come in contact with that I've now met through you. So everybody's got a different story, and that's the one thing too. We've got different connections in 2 different places now, so it works out a whole lot better that way.
Okay. Now, Mom, not really having a reference because you didn't listen to many podcasts before, have you?
No. Once I started listening to yours, those were like the first ones that I really started listening to.
So when I brought the first time I brought this whole podcast idea to you, what were you thinking? Is this what you were thinking in your mind? Has it turned out to be that?
No, I don't think so because initially you were doing the anime. Anime,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I didn't, I don't know anything about anime, so I didn't really know what to think about that. And then, once I saw like the different conversations and stuff that was going on, and it was, it was beneficial stuff, whether it was talking about, like taking a leap of faith or, a nutrition, whatever, it always had something positive to it. It wasn't, anything that was negative. It wasn't like the drama that you would see if you turn on, the Housewives of Atlanta or something like that. That's what draws people in, that drama stuff. And so it didn't have any of that. It was always a positive, smooth, encouraging environment. So
and I pride us in that.
Yes, and I appreciate that.
What about you, Sue? Because you've been around since he's done anime reactions with me when I had my old studio.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so he's been there. Sue actually did my very first interview.
That was ill, bro.
It was just cool how that all played out. But we were all we were all in the house with a bunch of other creatives for a week, and me and Sue ran into each other there. That's where we met.
I could talk.
And
I could talk about it. I love to talk about it.
Un momento. But I just wanted to say, there was so many artists there, and it was just so many cool people there, man. In my mind, like this light bulb went off, and I'm like, I have access to all these people right now. I'm gonna interview everybody because I've been wanting to get into interviews, but I didn't really have the experience. I was still nervous.
Nicaragua.
Right when I came from Nicaragua, yeah. I was still nervous, man, but I was like, man, I got my balls and went in and started asking people could I use their equipment, make the, for background, backdrop. We started getting mics set up and stools and everything in there. And I think it was you and Adam? Because I asked you for help. I was like, can you come help me kind of set up and do
I think it was me and Adam, and then I remember.
Shout out to Adam Amore.
Facts.
And his wife, Katie.
Facts.
They about to have a little seed.
Shout out to them.
Blessings to you.
Blessings to my young killers. Okay, so
I remember being 3 of us in there, and we were just like, we were shooting the shit.
I'm pretty sure it was
together.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just me, you, and Adam. I could be wrong, to be honest with you. But I remember you did a couple. Those interviews were dope. First and foremost, they were fun, super fun, funny, and just like a timepiece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was something very, very memorable from that like whole week ordeal. I remember you doing Zero when you were filming Zero.
Yeah.
And me and Daniel couldn't stop laughing because both of y'all was
Well, that was
y'all was so in sync, but like that it was hilarious.
That was the first anime reaction we did. Was at the house did that with Zero. So I did an anime reaction because I know I wanted to do a YouTube channel, and then I got the idea to do interviews. So I just made a list of the artists that were there, ones I kind of wanted to highlight, and then I just grabbed them all while they were in between their recording sessions and everything. I just grabbed them, knock out the interview. But me and him, we got to really have like a real in-depth one because the one he and I did, it wasn't like an official one. We were just kind of like testing the waters, and it just organically turned into an interview, And that was the night before I was gonna like go on the run, like knocking everybody out that day. So that night gave me a lot of confidence going in. You know what I'm saying? Doing that test run gave me a lot of confidence going in to get the other ones done.
Cool.
And it's
I'm
helped,
glad
it's helped to lead me right here. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
So I just want to say I appreciate that, man. And
For sure, man.
That's
I
the type
appreciate
of
you.
things I don't forget. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. I appreciate you, bro, because that interview, I don't know, like you said, it just kind of, we just in sync. From the minute I walked into the house and like showed up to you, like, I don't know, like I was super nervous as well walking into that house, like super nervous. And I remember I got there and I seen all the cars outside and I'm like, oh, like, this is really happening. Like, this is actually happening. Like, and I didn't know what really to expect. Like, I didn't know what I was walking into, to be honest. Like, I knew there was going to be a bunch of creators, but I didn't know all the people that might have been there. You know what I mean? I didn't know what was about to happen, but I was excited to see what was about to be done. And I remember I walked in there, and everybody was upstairs in the studio, like, recording something. And you were the only person downstairs. And, like, I remember I saw you. Yeah, I think you had your camera in your hand. You had your Akuma, what was it, Akuma? You had your Akuma beads on. And you had, I'm pretty sure, like, you had like Dragon Ball Z socks and like I think a Dragon Ball Z like Under Armour kind of jump. And like I was like, yo, you had the fro.
Yeah, because I had just got back from Nicaragua. I hadn't shaved, had a haircut, nothing. I was just straight.
You had the fro. Like, yeah, yo. And I just walked out. I was like, yo, what up, bro? You know, and it was love right there. And like, then I went upstairs. I saw everybody upstairs. It was cool. It was love. I met Zero for the first time there. And I remember you and Zero, y'all the only two other black people in the house. I was like, all right. I was like, all right, cool. Like I mean, granted, my cousin was there. You feel me? And I knew Dirk and Adam, but I'm like, all right, we got some soul brothers in here. Like, you know, see what's at the table here. And not for nothing. Sorry, Mom Dukes, don't get mad at him here. But I had some shrooms on me. And I gave some to him and Zero, and all three of us is kind of like,
I plead the fifth.
And we it was funny because hey man, I'm not even trying to like, you know, rattle my bro. It was just part of the process of us actually connecting. You know what I mean? Yeah. I swear, you know, and I remember like at one point like we were all zoned in, like just jonesing and like vibing out. And I remember looking around, Zero was like in crazy, like doing some crazy beat. And then you had your headphones in and was like, editing something. Just like you was going in. And I'm like, yeah, like I love this. It was just a dope time, man. And after that, like, I don't know, we stick together, like we stayed in touch, came to your crib a couple times, and then, you know, back when you had your first studio set up. And that was actually dope too. That was really dope set up, to be honest, just starting out. Like, that was a really good setup. I remember we did the Ragnarok review there, Granted, I haven't watched that since, but that was dope though, because that was the first time I actually really sat down and ever like watched the anime and did a review. Yeah, so that was cool. That was different.
That's a short one too. I don't do that.
Yeah, but you know, it was cool, man. And but nah, to see him to see where you went from there to now, like as far as your setup going, as far as how consistent you've been as well with your episodes, you know, bro, smooth right here. You know, shout out to you, man. I'm proud of you, man. It's dope to see. You got a lot farther to go. You know what I mean? So it's just stepping stones here. But to see you elevate and to see you still pursuing it and actually, you know, putting in what you really want to get out of it, you know, actually, you know, trying to bring people into it, having people on the podcast with you more, like that you did several what's that word I'm looking for? Collabs with.
Yeah,
that's dope. You know what I mean? Like even outside of Smooth, like you had like 4 other people, and I'm pretty sure I could be wrong. But, like you had some other people too. You know what I mean? And that's dope. Like, because that means people are noticing you. You're also tapping into other people's fan base. You know, and you're spreading yourself. You know, you're still planting your seed, but you know, them sprouts are starting to sprout a little bit.
No doubt.
So salute to you, bro.
I be spreading them everywhere.
Yeah, man. Keep watering it though, bro. Keep doing your thing, man. Salute. And honestly, yeah, like I said, shout out to you, because that interview like gave me a lot of confidence just to be in front of a camera. And honestly, I don't know what it is. Every time I come here, like I get a little nervous at first, and then somehow it's just like.
But dude, we really been in training for years. Like, you remember we used to just be there just filming?
Yeah. And
pretty much just practicing
talking.
how to talk, how
Yeah.
to do conversations, how to relate to each other, how to make the conversation flow, which you guys have probably noticed, throughout this process about conversation flows into one thing into
Yeah.
the next.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
And that also comes, I think, like the conversations start to become a little more effortless, like when people get more comfortable.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Definitely. So I mean, I'm proud of you. You know what I mean? So yes, definitely. Like I'm super excited to see what you guys got to come. I love to be a part of any opportunity, anything you need help with. I'm always here. Thank you for having me today.
No doubt. Pleasure.
Bringing me out the shadows. You know what I mean? So definitely, man. It's always good seeing you as well. Also, meeting your moms, meeting your family. So it's a blessing.
Okay, appreciate it.
Sure.
I want to ask my homie to my right. Since you've been on a few podcasts, you've even come and trained with us a bit. What were you thinking when I first brought the idea to you about the podcast? Did you think when I brought the idea to you that you would be a consistent part of it at the time?
I don't think I thought I would be this consistent, to be honest. I figured you'd have me on for like an episode or two, but this is like, I think my third, fourth, I don't even know. But I don't know, talking in my living room, man, every time I come in here, I'm just like, man, because we talked about how I wanted to do a podcast myself and like kind of do like exactly what you're doing, and I always believed in it. I just remember you coming over to the living room in my crib and we just smoke up and chop it up and talk about, hey, like, like these are like our dreams and aspirations. Like, how do we get on to like doing it? And you just started doing it. I guess you wanted the podcast way harder than I did. So you just started doing it. And I was like, dude, it's like amazing to see, because for me, watching my friends do it means that I could potentially do it, and because, it pushes you too, to see that someone else is doing it, and you're like, damn, man, like it's possible, man. Like, you watching you do your thing, you start to think like, you can do something. I can make a dog related. I can start having, other dog people come in and talk about dogs and stuff like that. I've been featured on a couple other dog training podcasts myself. But it's always been a goal for me. So just being here is an honor, and it's just like, part of that bucket list, or that I wish I would have been part of a podcast. You actually, accomplished that by inviting me onto your channel here several times. So it's just an honor, man. It's just really great to see you grow. And one thing that earlier you were talking about is the plan of bringing everybody here. And like, I don't know like how much you talked to them about it, but I remember before you were even here, like it was like, hey, my nephew's coming, bro.
Yeah,
and like the way he was so excited and talking about, yo, my nephew's coming, man. And then, now you're here, and then you're here, and like just the excitement about how he goes, about his family coming down here. I could just tell that probably just as much as the frustration that you feel telling your family that, yo, just come over here, he probably feels the same, because he's probably been doing it for longer than you've been doing it, and no one's listening. So to him to be, and for me, like coming in and like kind of knowing you and him, it's like watching both personalities act differently about the same kind of subject that I'm sure both have encountered in their life, and it's just interesting to see that Shinobi, like, or Shabri, sorry, just seeing it all the time. I just want to call you Shinobi.
Call me what you like.
Shabri was so excited about his family coming over and being part of what he's building here. And to me, it's amazing to see that, because as his friend, you have your own goals and aspirations of doing something similar. So it just kind of teaches you like, hey, man, you can do it too. Like, it's possible. Like, what do you need? And he's always been that type of friend that I've asked him questions about mics. I've asked him questions about cameras. And, I have my Amazon cart for it. And I really don't know what's stopping me. But for right now, I really just don't have the time to set something up like this. Hopefully, maybe once I quit the restaurant job, I can get something going. But I think it's great, man. I think it's amazing that you're doing this. Your episodes are awesome. I don't watch all of them. I will be transparent, but the ones I have watched, I'm like, dude, like this is fucking great, man. This is great seeing him just do his thing. Something that he's been talking about for a long, long time, and now being part of this, being here with your family, like, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Sir. Pleasure to have you.
Also, I remember nothing. It's part of your first music video as well.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah. You were
Damn, that
there.
was-
You came later
Which
too.
one?
With
The one we
Cameron.
did with Cameron. You remember you
Oh
came
my
later?
god, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Damn, I
yeah.
damn near forgot about
the,
that.
The apricot video.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gave you guys the sunset idea.
Yeah.
That was dope. That was a fun time.
See, those have just been the building blocks to build on to more. You know what I'm saying? When you look back at the videos and the episodes and meeting and doing the first interviews, all that's been like necessary components to get to this point. And now it's a collective. Like I can feel the energy in here, and I just feel more powerful. You know what I'm saying? Because I know we can do this more together. Because I don't feel this intense when I'm with myself,
Right.
unless I'm just super saiyan and out. But but yeah, I wanted to kind of switch the flow. And this is gonna be a subject everybody is gonna be happy to talk about. We're gonna get into some music, and I want to take it back to Mother. Let's go back to high school. What was that sound like? How would you describe that sound, the music? Because you know how every era kind of feels like it has a sound.
Yeah.
How would you describe that sound of when you were in high school, or some of the bands that were popular?
Well, I don't know if you all know about the New Jack Swing. That like
Shout out Teddy Riley.
Yes, Teddy Riley, Guy, and all them. R. Kelly, those guys. They had music that you could dance to. It had meaning, to the lyrics. The lyrics had meaning. It wasn't just like repeating like Versace, 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 something like that, But it's like music has really, in my opinion, like lost the meaning. And if I go back even before that, back to something like the OJs or something like that, for example, they like uplifted women. They poured out their heart to women. They showed, like had love songs and stuff like that. It was all positive vibes. You didn't really hear any of the male singers back then like putting down a woman or anything like that. It was like, I'm in love and I'm brokenhearted and all this good stuff. And then once like the Guy and Teddy Riley and all of them came up, it was more dancing music. You could dance to it, you could go to the club and you could jam to it and stuff like that. And let's see, as it moved on, it just kind of, I guess, like, once rap, I'm not putting down rap or anything like that. I love some Tupac. But, once a different type of rap started coming in, I think it might have, I'm not sure if it came from, like, I'm not even going to take a side. I don't know where it came from, but, like, well, even just say, for example, Kumo D or Big Daddy Kane and stuff like that. They had positive, they had positive rap back then as well.
It was knowledge.
And it took a turn, like KRS and stuff like that. They had knowledge, but it took a turn and it just like kind of like destroyed kids.
It really did.
It really did, in my opinion.
It's kind of nuts because I actually heard like saw a podcast or like an interview, excuse me, where they said that there was a apparently they had like a meeting at one point, like the masters, the gatekeepers, you should say, had a meeting about like where music was, and this is like the early '90s. So like think like Public Enemy, the KRS Ones, like the the Tribe Called Quest, the Native Tongues, like Queen Latifah, like that whole De La Soul, like all of them. When that type of music was very apparent and like spoke about like a lot of political issues and super like very pro-black and like not anti anything else, but like not to be honest, but very pro-black. You know what I mean? Like, and just speaking power into our people as a whole. You know what I mean? The message was different. You know what I mean? There actually was a message, but there was apparently a meeting of the minds that like they were finding a way to change the route of where hip hop was going. Like they actually had a meeting about, this is how we're gonna like go this way with it, because they realized how much of an influence it had. So they were like, okay, they're talking to like inferiority, man. They're scared. We don't like when we rise up and start thinking.
It's influenced. It's influenced
So-
the entire globe.
They had to change. They had to change. What we were listening to, and what was being put out there. Hence, look at where music's at now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it went from, you had gangster rap, and then you had you had kind of the dancing kind of hip hop, but then you had gangster rap, and then you had like the uplifting like hip hop, and then you had and I love Jay-Z and like all of them, but then you had like the making money era of hip hop. You know what I mean? And then after the making money era of hip hop, then you had like the drugs, kind of the heavy drug influence hip hop. You know what I mean? To where it's like now it's like very sexualized kind of like almost hip hop.
Yeah,
And it's
yep.
like there's different stages, you know what I mean? But it's kind of weird.
And I can attest to
It's-
that because I grew up within the knowledge part.
Mhm.
So from a kid, it was almost like that was the main influence, and I've gotten to see it just grow over time. So that's definitely very accurate what you just said about how it kind of hits these different transitions, and it's very intentional for sure.
Sure.
And it definitely has, well, certain music definitely has warped the minds of not only the youth but adults as well.
Yeah.
Because wisdom does not always come with age, and I learn that more and more every day, and more interactions I have with people. So yeah, it's been pretty cool to see that evolution, but at the same time, as far as like hip hop and things like that go, I'm more into like the underground stuff.
Agreed.
That are still speaking on those types of things.
Agreed.
It's just not at the forefront.
Shout out Coda the Friend, because he's one of those
Yeah.
that do that. But honestly, it's funny because honestly, I don't really even listen to hip hop like too much. That's not like my main
Yeah.
choice. Like honestly, while I'm at work, I listen to a lot of I just do my research, to be honest, and I do my due diligence. Like I've been listening to a lot of like soul music, like 70s soul.
Mm-hmm.
Like I pick categories. Like some days I'll do 70s soul, some days I'll do 80s rock. Some days I'll do like 90s rock, like 90s hip hop, R&B. Then I'll do like Motown or like sounds of Philly, Philly sound music, which all kind of falls into the soul kind of category, but different types. Like from sounds of Philly, you have Teddy Pendergrass, and then Motown, you got Marvin Gaye, which two very very legendary singers, and they were killers, bro. You know what I mean? Like they ate it up, man. So it's like when you hear those type of vocals, that's like raw, uncut vocals right there, bro. You know what I mean? Like that was before any auto tuning and like all of that shit didn't exist. Excuse my French, but like you know what I mean? It was like just pure raw talent and like actual vocals, and it's like to hear the like some of the messages and like the joy and like the soul that was like put into the music back then to now, and as like real musicianship, like actual live instruments, like a whole orchestra in there, like
12-piece bands.
Exactly. Like, that stuff makes it more grand. Like, hearing all of that, like live instrumentation for me is like trumps everything that got like today, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And it's just cool also like going back and like hearing the different styles and sounds of music and seeing how it kind of has developed as a whole, and like how certain sounds like disappeared and like how certain things transformed. Music is cool, man. I don't know. It's just really interesting, man. And it's always interesting because you start to think like, where's it gonna go?
Yeah.
Because essentially history does kind of find a way of like repeating itself in certain senses. So like, I'm like for instance, people are huge in collecting vinyls now. You know what I mean?
That's the thing again?
Yeah, super. So it makes me wonder, like, are CDs gonna be a thing again at one point? Or like cassette tapes, like stuff like that. So I'm like, where is it gonna go? Even with like photography, a lot of people are getting so like, and I love it. But film like filming cameras, is that the word? Yeah, there you go. Film cameras are like very popular now, probably like more than I feel like they have been in the last couple years. You feel me? Compared to like when it was actual, that's all you had. I feel like our generation, like younger generations, take a liking to like more old school, grainy kind of like things that make you feel a type of way. That kind of have capture like a timepiece, I guess you would say, or like it makes you get that feeling of a timepiece, like when you take the picture. So I do love that.
All right, KJ, I wanted to ask you, how do you decide what type of music to create? Because I know you're trying to put out some type of vibration. Like, do you go in the studio and it's like whatever you're feeling once you hear the beat, or do you already have something in your head that you're humming? Like, how does like your creative process start?
Yeah, I just find a beat, and if I like the beat, a melody will come in my head, and then we go from there. I don't really write down my music or anything. I just start hearing melodies in my head, and then start humming out the melody and start putting words to fix the melody. And I just build a song.
I really noticed that because I did I went into a couple studio sessions and I did some filming of his, and I could tell like you were really in your element in there, and it was a cool process to see, like, because like he doesn't write, like he just hums it and it just comes to him. It's very interesting. We have to show him some footage sometime, but it's just a very interesting process, and I just wanted to know like what's kind of going through your mind, like when you hear the beat. Does that go into like a subject of what the song is going to be? Like once you get that beat, that melody, do you kind of start to think of like, this is what I'm going to talk about? You know what I'm saying? Does it make sense?
Some songs is like that. Like yeah, you were saying there's type beats on YouTube. So it could be like an A Boogie type beat or a Drake type beat, and sometimes they do have like certain feelings that I'm looking for. So like a lovey-dovey feeling, or like a sexual feeling, or like a hype thing. Some of these beats would have that in it, but it just all freestyle. Like I'll have that like type of momentum or like the energy. Like if I want to talk about being like making money or something, I'll have like a little bit of energy, but it might not come out like that. It would just have like, you know what I'm saying? It's just all expression, how it makes the beat, how the beat makes me feel like. But if I'm looking for like a lovely vibe, there definitely beats. There's like slower tone beats. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever type of song I do, that's like either fast or it's gonna be either slow, and then I just go in there and just figure it out.
Pretty dope. Anybody got any questions for KJ on the music? Because I know he's like, I definitely would think you would.
I'm gonna be honest. I knew you were making music, but I didn't know like how persistent you were with your music because I just been like going through my own thing. But how have you been? How do you feel like your style has developed, and like how have you feel like you've grown within your craft since you started? I guess I would say since you started recording music. How have you honed into your craft? How has your craft developed, and where would you say you're at now that you've developed more of than what you were in the past?
I'll say finding words like reading's helped, and just look at the thesaurus, or how you say that word? The
source.
The sources, yeah. I'll read that a lot, and I just put words in my head. Like I have to start reading a lot. Like I read a lot of books about money and just personal development, but other than that, I just read too and just go out and just. That's why I couldn't do a lot either. Like, cause like I said, I don't write, so I didn't really have a lot of words to say. So I just find out a melody, and I just make these simple type of beats and simple type of lyrics. And over time, now you know what I'm saying, they're starting to develop and starting to make sense and starting to, you know what I'm saying, like be more than just these simple melodies back and back. Like I'm putting more lyrics in it, and then it's just reading, just becoming more comfortable in the studio too. Cause now I can just bust it out. But at the end, it's time to tuck a while, and I'm just over here really like searching for words or really like looking. You know what I'm saying? What rhymes with this? What rhymes with this? Now I don't really have to do that since I know so many words in my head and I can remember a lot of stuff. Like I practice remembering stuff too, just by like learning Spanish or just learning the orders at my job. Like I really don't write anything down, just like I don't write about my music. I really do it all in the mind, and that helps too. Just being at work and just learning stuff. I'm always learning, so that helps too, and that helps like me bring out stories because I really go out here and do a lot of things that I never did before. So me just being out here in Florida and actually exploring and meet more friends and meet more people, that's helped out too because I'm always has something new to me to bring to the like a thought like, oh, I did this or I did that, or you know what I'm saying. It's just now it's just so natural because I remember all these things in my head. People are always amazed I can remember stuff, but just if you try, you just keep trying to. Yeah, experiences, and you just keep thinking about them, just keep thinking about it. You just stick in your head, and that's what helped me with my music too. Just like these life experiences that I've had.
So, who would you say are some of your influences when it comes to music?
It's a lot of people because I listen to a lot of music, but Drake is a lot. I mean, Drake. I listen to a lot of Drake. It could be Uzi. I don't know. It depends on it just depends because I watch a lot of documentaries about people and how they started and just their stories and what they've been through and how they came. And it's kind of all like my story. Just they took a leap and just figured it out. It's not like it's a necessary 1, 2, 2, 2. You know what I'm saying? But they all did basically what I'm doing. So, but I really listen to a lot of people. I can go on and on. So I can't really say it's like a top 5 or top 3 because there's so many music I listen to. Like people wouldn't listen to like country or Spanish music, reggaeton or reggae or Afro
Do any
beats.
of them influence the style that you like? How would you classify your style of music?
I don't know. Just because everything's freestyle, I couldn't really say it. Just by emotions. It's not like I have a certain style because I can make a punk rap song, but just make it with a rap beat or something like that. Like I experiment with everything. I guess I'll say experimental because I'm always trying something new. I don't just stick to like a certain type of beat or a certain type of vibe. I'm always changing it up. It doesn't matter.
You got your uncle here, man. You gotta start doing some music videos, bro. Putting some visuals out there.
Yeah, I'm starting to get the time and just a lot of stuff has happened and getting the schedule, and then I just want to make sure, you know what I'm saying? I'm getting my schedule fixed and getting enough money to do a certain thing because I want my music videos to be like perfect. Like I don't want to. It's like I have this vision, and if I'm just a perfectionist, and if it doesn't hit this vision or I can't do what I want in this video, you know what I'm saying? It's not gonna make me motivated to do it. So I'm just waiting until I got this. I'm not waiting. I'm not trying to make excuses, but I know that I got something coming up and certain people, you know what I'm saying? I want to have girls or this or that or that or this car, you know what I'm saying? I have certain things in my head that I want to do for certain videos, and they're about to start coming. Like it's about to start coming out.
So what's like in your mind? What excuse me? In your mind, what classifies like a perfect video, or like when does that opportunity present itself? Like how like in a sense is any of that in your control? Could you do anything to help that opportunity present itself instead of waiting? You know what I mean? Like when that opportunity comes,
it's just like having more people in the video, like just talking to people to actually do it. Because a lot of people keep saying, "Yeah, I do it and do it, I do it," but I know money's gonna motivate a lot of other people to be in the music video too. So that's what's really one of the factors I'm waiting on because I don't want to do I can do a lot of solo videos, but it's like a group setting or something like that, or having a girl or something like that. Because a lot of my music about you know what I'm saying romantically or something. I can't be just talking about it and not having it in the video. You know what I'm saying? So it's just little things like that. But like there's getting there. And I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to focus on getting my schedule the way I want my schedule to be. So we can start actually, you know what I'm saying? My schedule sometimes is just on the go. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't have like a set because I'm always doing something, you know what I'm saying? Or, so, you know what I'm saying? Just something always happen. I just go by the flow. But I'm just waiting until I can structure my life with just getting there. But it's on, you know what I'm saying? I have a plan.
So, all right.
Yeah, I've learned to like get things done. You have to master this right here. And that's getting the people together. And that process, that is a filtering process, man. But when you take on something and you're kind of spearheading something, that's just what you take on. That's the responsibility that you take on. You know what I'm saying? So, how's everybody feeling?
Good.
Great.
Y'all a little hot?
A little toasty.
A little toasty in here, bro.
A little toasty.
How about we take an intermission? Everybody can get water and pee and whatever you need to do, stretch out. And then we'll come back and do about 20 minutes and finish. Sound good?
All right.
All right, Shinobi Podcast, everybody. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. We'll holler at y'all in a minute.
Go buy barbecue and have a tea party.
Listen, all my feelings I don't know who to hang out with them. I had no choice. But it's like I wasn't sitting there like, hey, Dolly, like
I grew up with sisters, bro.
Speaking to the mic when you talk about Barbie, bro.
Bobby, I'm definitely going to see the Bobby movie. I probably won't pay for it, but regardless, even if I do, I don't care. Like Margot Robbie's a beautiful woman, and I also just want to see how they actually made Barbie into a real life book. Like that would be kind of interesting to me. But yeah, but I definitely want to see Oppenheimer first. That movie is very
That's going to be interesting.
historically,
maybe not.
All right, everybody. Ugh, got my tongue tied. All right, everybody. We're back from our intermission. Took a little break. We're about to close this thing out. Me and my illustrious cast here. So let's start with D, man. Any last things you got to say to the folks? And also, how was your experience here doing a podcast episode for your first time?
The experience has been good. I would say it's been different, something I ain't done before, so it's good stepping out doing different things. It's kind of like basically touching on what everybody else is saying. Like taking that risk is just like you just gotta step out there and do it. You can't be thinking about all the 10,000 steps ahead. You gotta think about that first step that's in front of you. And like that's like a big thing that I've been looking at now. Is like you gotta have a plan for the future, but think about what can you do today that's gonna like get you there. So like when I was working, I knew like I had a plan, but I didn't know what was going to be like the everyday thing. So I was like, I knew I could do something today that was going to get me to that point. So it's like just taking that risk and stepping out your comfort zone, because the comfort zone is where you're going to stay or you're going to fail. You're going to be stuck wherever, wishing I did this, wishing I did that. Like he was saying, like having a mentor, like I was staying with my friend and his parents, and like they was doing a lot for me. So like I kind of had to step out that comfort zone of actually doing things on my own and making a change for my life, like doing what's best for me. Like I was like having him as a mentor, like he gave me a lot of guidance, which built up my confidence and stuff like that. So I knew like I had people that were supporting me along the way. So I knew I wasn't just jumping out there into blindness, but I knew it was a unknown what I was going into. So thankful for everybody that's here. They all pushed me to where I'm at. Everybody along the journey. There's plenty of people that's helped me along the way. So I've seen the pieces, connected them, and I'm thankful for everybody that's helped me get to this point.
We gonna stay on the job, baby. Mother, what are your last words to the folks on this beautiful day?
As far as risks, go ahead and take them. You're gonna fail sometimes, but don't let that deter you. Don't let that, like I can't do it. I fail. It's that's the end of it. You pick yourself up, go out there, and continue to do it. You might fail few times, several times, but just keep on going until you reach whatever it is that you want to accomplish, and then along the way, help others as you go along the way. And thank you for inviting me today, Shabri.
No problem. No problem. KJ, what you gotta say to the people? What you gotta say to your fans? What you gotta say to the people that don't know you? Go ahead and express yourself to the folks.
Simple. Just there's no excuses. There's literally just no excuses to do what you want to do. There's no excuses in life. So I live my life every day. There's no excuses.
Mr. Smooth?
Shoot. I ain't used to having
Get that Barry White voice and talk to
I'm
him.
not used to I'm not used to having to like move the mic it off for myself. Man, to leave y'all with after today, because we've talked about risk, we talked about confidence. I tell everybody, like, y'all, all the time, you know who you are, you know what you're capable of, go out there and go get it. The risks are really rewarding. Especially when you're in that uncomfortable situation, you come out on top of it. So definitely, like Auntie said, just go do it. Take those risks, enjoy them while you got them. You don't want to look back and be wishful thinking, and your body ain't the same, your mind's not the same. So do what you got to do, and like KJ said, man, there's no excuses on it. Get to it. You ain't got nothing in your pockets. You starting somewhere. So just keep pushing. That's all it is.
Mr. Sue, spit to him.
Let's see. I would say start off, first love yourself, man. Love yourself, be kind to yourself along your journey, no matter what it is that you're doing. You know what I mean? Because you are the soul of your vessel. So if you're not right, like your vessel ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? So you gotta be right within first. Work on yourself. If it may come off as selfish to other people at times, but put yourself first and work on yourself so that way you can be capable of getting to where you need to be and want to be properly. You know what I mean? Because self-help, like self-love, mental health, that stuff plays a super integral role in everything you do. So I would say, just also live life, man. Don't live for other people. Help people, show love to people, care for people. Be lovable yourself. Have confidence. Be proud of yourself. Smile more. cry as well because it's good for your soul. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Embrace fear. You know,
I almost did a couple times just sitting there.
I feel. You know, but it's a good feeling though. You got your peoples here, which you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So
It's all
you
good.
manifested all of that right there, at least like George was saying. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you know, and don't give up on yourself, man. No matter how hard things could get, you know, people could go, you know, you could end up in dark places, and that's okay. But you know, always try to do one little thing that can make you feel better throughout, like at least throughout the day, so that way you at least got something to smile about, you know, to look forward to the next day. You know, I'd say, I had something else I was like right in my head. It's just like slipped right out. Shit. Can't remember.
It's coming.
I can't
We're gonna come back.
I can't remember, man. But yeah, man. Peace and love, man, to everybody, you know, and don't be afraid to show love. Don't be afraid to say I love you to people. Say I love you to everybody. Even if they're a friend, even if it's a passerby. You know what I mean? You never know. That might brighten up somebody's day. That might make somebody's day. That, you know, you never know what words can do. So always be kind and show love to others. Even if they don't reciprocate, that's cool, man. That ain't got nothing. Don't take it personally because it really ain't got nothing to do with you. So, but yeah, man. Shout out to Shabri. Shout out to the family. Thank y'all for having me. Shout out to George. You know what I mean? Shout out to the fans out there, man. And look forward to being on here again, man. Peace. And best wishes to you guys on season 2. You know what I mean?
Appreciate it, baby. All right.
I'm next.
Yes, sir.
Oof. All right. I guess just be a good human. You know, that's kind of the message here. Just be a good human. You know, care for others, like he's saying. Help your people. You know, everyone's got their tribe. You know, make sure your tribe's okay. Check in on them. Gets a little hard in the adult life, but you know, even through adult life, here we are all sitting, you know, making time, scheduling to enjoy the moment, you know, and when you're in these moments, you know, appreciate them because you might not be here tomorrow, you know, nothing's certain. And that's why you should take risks because you might not wake up tomorrow. You never know. You never know, man. So go and do it, chase your dream, and don't look back. That's what I got.
And travel and see the world.
That part. I'm about to do that soon. So I'm looking forward to that. Definitely got to travel. I feel like traveling opens up your mind and your life. It's just different perspective of things, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, it may help you find your passion a lot more quicker or your purpose, you know.
Like even if you just travel to a new state, like just see something different,
man.
experience different people, different situations, you know.
Thing too, I feel like a lot of people back home are afraid of because they're scared of the type of people they're gonna meet. They think it's the same as back home.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm saying with race, and it's not like it's not everywhere. Like everyone's different.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people just need to get over it back home.
All right, man. Well, looks like everybody has it covered, so I don't have to say much to close this out. But
Oh yeah, and buy real estate. Seriously.
But yeah, I just want to give my undying appreciation to everybody in this room, and you guys fuel me to keep going, man. Sometimes I need that fuel. Sometimes I'm slipping a little bit. I just need somebody to catch me real quick, and then I'm back on it. But I appreciate everybody because you guys do that in some way or another, whether you know it or not. You know what I'm saying? So it keeps me doing this. It keeps me moving forward and not being afraid. You know what I'm saying? And if I can inspire you guys, that's my intention. You know what I'm saying? Like my true intention. I just want to inspire by taking the risk. If I got to take the risk, so you can see that, okay, I can take that risk too, then I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna put myself out there like that. And that's just what I've chosen to do as a man. You know what I'm saying? So that's who I am, and that's how it's gonna be. But much love to everyone. Before we go, everybody tell the people how they can reach you, man. And if you got any like promos or anything you want to get out, let them know. When I edit this, I'll have y'all all popping up. You know what I'm saying? So D, go ahead and tell the people how they can reach you, man. How they can get in contact with you, and let them know a little bit about the shirts, man.
You can look me up on Instagram at DSignCustoms. and I'm about to do a promo for a 5 free T-shirts for my business open up.
All right, baby. Remember, go check that out. Support nephew, up and coming creators. Mom, what you got to say to the folks?
Well, I don't have anything to promote, but I did notice that Shabri didn't cuss today. I wonder if that was because I was here.
I don't know. I think I've been like consciously trying not to more. And that it just be like right here, but I think I'm just filtering better now.
I definitely held back on that. I smooth. I was like, yo, is it all right if I curse? I was like, I ain't trying to get smacked upside my head.
Everybody was disrespectful the way it's supposed to be. KJ, tell the people where they can reach you, and if you got any new music or anything coming, let the people know what's coming. If you can divulge that information.
Yeah, we got some music that's about to release. Just waiting on some T-shirts for a giveaway. But you can follow my music, KJ Caliente. Caliente spelled with a K instead of a C. My Instagram, im.caliente, and that's pretty much the rest of my social media as well.
All right, baby, Mr. Smooth. Tell the folks what's up, man. Tell them what's happening.
Listen, if you don't know where to find me, that's a problem. As much as I've been tagged and I've been we've been showing off everything. Y'all should know where I'm at. But Mr. Smooth, Mr.Smooth24 on Instagram. I ain't too much on TikTok, so I can't really plug that at all. But I share here and there. That's about it on it. That's about it. Like you'll find me on Instagram more than anything. When y'all see this one, like I won't have gone live at all. So like I was going to on my Instagram for it, but I was like, this is a special moment, so I can't give this out to the world. So we got to do this at one time, and that's it. So Mr.Smooth_24 on Instagram. That's where you'll find me.
All right, baby Sue.
I ain't really on the socials like that. I'm gonna keep it a buck, but Tsunami Clark, that's my Instagram handle. But if anybody need any help with real estate, as far as real estate closings, if you guys are selling property or you need help with title insurance, or you need help setting up a LLC or EIN number on the business side, or you or your family members need to set up a will or a trust, holla at me. I mean, look up throwkeldlaw.com. Give us a call, man. We'll be more than happy to help you. See how we can help you guys. So.
All right, baby. Close us out.
Oh, I'm a closer? Perfect. All right, so you can find me at Pointy Ear Training on Instagram. There's a Facebook page. I also have a Google page. You can find me on there if you want to contact me. All my information is on there. You should be able to find my phone number, my email. Reach out. I train dogs. I'm really good at it. So if you need any behavior modification, leash training, basic obedience, off leash training, hit your boy up. I can do it. Thank you for coming.
All right, that is another episode of the Shinobi Podcast. Family reunion special. We got the family up in here. Everybody looking good and vibrant. We did our thing today once again. The Shinobi Podcast. Appreciate you guys for joining us.
Thanks for having us, sir.
We're looking to have many more, man. So let's keep doing this thing and let's keep progressing. We're going at a good pace.
I want to do an episode about movies, dude.
Oh, bro, yes. Yes. We could do that.
I want to be part of that.
Well, I'm off this whole week, so we can make that happen. Straight up. So, yeah, we'll talk.
Because I got a question. I always ask people what's their top 5. If you was stuck on an island, you have 5 movies you had to take with you. Okay. No particular order.
I'm gonna have mine written out by the time we do it.
I come to the house this morning. So in Harry Potter, whole say Harry Potter. Unless you want to choose. Because remember, there's 5. So I'm fair enough because I love the Harry Potter franchise myself. So same thing with Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Technically, Lord of the Rings is one movie.
That's one of mine. Yeah,
that's what my mind is.
It's technically one movie.
Technically,
yeah.
But Harry Potter, you could if you had a specific one, or it's like
Nah, I don't.
fourth one. Or
You know, I'm not really that big. Man.
Damn, I already got mine going. Okay, I got 2.
It gets harder when you get to 5.
I know,
When
yeah.
you get to 4 and 5, you start thinking of all the other ones. And you're like, oh wait, hold up, that one. But I will say this: I always give people like 5. The fifth slot could be shared by 2 things. Like you can half and half, like half this movie and half another. Like, just because I know it's a little tricky getting that fifth spot. And you want to give one the runner up. So instead of giving the runner up, it's like, all right, I'll give fifth spot to 2. I mean, so ponder on those.
I shall.
Same thing with your top 5 albums of all time.
All right, baby, we're going to close this thing out. We're going to turn around to the people so they can see us on this special occasion, Shinobi Podcast, reunion show. We out of here, man. Much love, everybody. Peace out.